All right. Hey, thanks again for joining us for another episode of Triple Play. And don't forget, as always, to
like and subscribe.
And just so people know, we've got memberships out there. And with those memberships, you can get acknowledgments. You can get a little clip with us. We're looking and challenging 20 to 30 people to consider becoming members at anywhere from, you can start as low as $1.99 and you can go all the way up to $20. So a couple of dollars a month helps us out. We're just trying to get the base cost of the episodes covered, which would really help us out and continue to grow.
Nothing in life is free.
Nothing in life is free. And on top of that, I mean, hopefully we're putting out a lot of good content. I think we got some really cool interviews that we've had. We got ones coming up. Mm-hmm. Today's guest is going to be fun. We'll talk about that in a second. So, but on top of that, don't forget to support those that support us. And so don't forget to check out Resource One and Andy McCollum and his team at 636-458-1798. Also, CS Design at 573-436-3717. Make sure you guys are sharing the episodes. That's another thing we notice when those are shared. And if you're a subscriber and sharing and we're noticing it, we're still handing out 3 balls. I've handed out about 15 balls so far, signed balls. So I'm actually going to have to get another round signed soon. So that's good stuff, but keep doing it because that helps us out and letting people know about who we are and what we're doing. So things that will help out. So all that said,
who we got today?
Who we got is your friend. And he's an awesome guy. We love him. And I like him just because he has the same name. But I also had an extraordinary career. And we have got Josh Beckett back today. So we're excited to have him again today. If you haven't studied Josh Beckett and his career, I highly recommend you do. Because if you're interested in baseball, you're interested in a top athlete, somebody who's performed at really the highest level, he's a guy to look at. So especially from a pitching perspective, high level, World Series, no hitters. Really the only thing he never got as a pitcher was a Cy Young. And if he'd gotten that, he'd basically be at the top of the list. So.
I think I'd have to go back and look, and I apologize, Josh, if I get this wrong, but I think that his rookie year, he could have, I think
there's several seasons he was in a conversation. Yeah, I think
so, he was in a pitcher's era.
And he was throwing really well. I mean, that's why they won a World Series, right? So, I mean, when he was with the Marlins and again with the Red Sox with their trifecta that they had for pitchers, he was a really, really good pitcher. With that said, enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you.
Here's Josh.
Yeah. Josh Beckett and how he's doing. So, Josh, you're our guest today. We're excited to have you again. And if people are watching, they're going to be paying attention that you're out on the lake. So tell us a little bit of where you're at, what you're doing right now, because this is pretty fun.
And get used to it. I want to see Josh. I want to see Josh out on the lake more. So we're going to see more. So get used to seeing Josh out on the lake fishing.
Exactly.
We're going to have fishing stories.
Yeah, I do this a lot. I'm actually I'm in South Texas on a lake called Choke Canyon Reservoir. This feeds Lake Corpus Christi, which feeds the water to Corpus Christi. The towns I'm near are Three Rivers and Tilden, and I'm just out bass fishing. It's hotter than donut grease down here, and I got about 3 more hours left, and then I'm getting out of here because it's going to be death heat later on.
Yeah, have you caught anything?
I caught a few this morning. I'll send you guys a picture so you guys can put it on the podcast. I caught one about 4 pounds this morning on a line through swim bait.
Oh, nice.
4 pounds. I haven't seen a 4-pound bass in a while. We only got like maybe 1 2-pound in our little pond lake.
Yeah, by you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get a little bit bigger when I'm down at the Lake of the Ozarks. I fished all weekend. I didn't catch anything. The only thing that was caught was my brother-in-law left a mini fish on a line that was on the dock. And when I got there, he goes, "Hey, check that line. Just pull it up." And I pull it up, and there's a big old catfish. He's like, "No way." And I'm like, "Yep, there's a big old catfish on this thing."
The pigs of water.
And he's lucky it didn't take off with his rod.
I know.
Well, I did the same thing. He didn't have it on a rod. He had it tied to the dock, like your boat.
So he had it tied down.
Yeah. So
that's one of the worst ass whippings I ever got from my dad one time. I was fishing at Lake Conroe, and my dad and his buddy Jack were out on the boat, and he left me with 2 of his rods. And me and my buddy were fishing, and we decided to walk up to the condo or something and walk back down, and that rod was gone. fish is taking off with it, and I had to tell my dad. I mean, I've never been so scared in my life. I had to tell my dad what happened to that rod, and I mean, he beat the shit out of me.
Oh man.
Well, how long did it take to get out of your mouth?
I did it. Now that I have a son that's 5, and I was a little older than that, but I can tell when my son did something wrong because he starts stuttering. Well, Dad, I want to tell you, you know what I'm saying? So my son started doing that. I'm pretty sure I did that exact same thing.
Well, so it appears you're mere feet away from the surface of the sun, and you decided not to bring an umbrella. Is that fishing? Like fishing?
Hey.
You don't want to bring an umbrella on a fishing trip. Is that what I'm gathering?
I have an umbrella, but it's for my kids.
Okay. I didn't know, man. I care about your skin.
Oh, I got sunscreen on.
Oh, look at you. I bet that just dropped like 10 degrees.
I'm not worried about it.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
That's
Hey,
that's what everybody's talking about, this heat wave, and everybody I know is like, yeah, we were expecting it. It comes every year.
Yeah, it's called summer, right?
Yeah.
You went to the Open, right? Last weekend?
I did. I went to the U.S. Open last weekend in L.A. I thought it was awesome. I know people were complaining about. I tell you, it was tough though. Like, my wife's so short, so we had a box that we had bought tickets in, and we decided to go walk around. And only 2 of my kids. My oldest daughter's at camp for a month, and so it was just 2 of my kids. We decided to go walk around, and I think Bryson DeChambeau just teed off. We weren't really trying to follow anybody in particular. But we went and walked like 1 and 2 with him, and my wife being 5'4", she couldn't see anything. And then we got trapped out there, and we wanted to get back to see the leaders on Sunday tee off, and we were trapped out there for like an hour and a half just because it was difficult to get back to where, unless you went back the same way, which we didn't try to do that.
They have like flow routes, right? Like they have like one-way routes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little difficult. Like I said, I had no problem seeing, but I could see where if you're not 6'4" and a big guy, it was probably pretty difficult.
Yeah,
I thought the atmosphere was awesome. Like, I mean, I think there was a few of the tour guys that were complaining about the atmosphere. I thought it was amazing.
Was there any hoopla about who's the member? There was a member that wasn't playing in the U.S. Open, but he's a member of L.A. Country Club, and he was like he was on the practice range, just like wasn't a part of the Open, but he was a part of the PGA Tour, and everybody was like, "What are you doing, dude?" Did you hear it? Did you hear about that?
There's no way that happened.
Yes, that happened. I cannot remember. I cannot remember.
He had to have been. You sure he didn't play like as a marker? Because I know one of the members played as a marker.
Maybe I should have gotten the story. Maybe he didn't make the cut. And then he went on Saturday and just was like practicing because he's a member there. People were like, "Dude, you can't find another place to practice."
Pretty sure the word douche canoe got thrown around.
Did you guys have a good little setup? Did you guys like make it a little vacation? Did you guys just hotel it?
No, we did a Airbnb in Manhattan Beach. We used to have a house there. We sold it during COVID because I didn't want to wear a fucking mask or sit outside every time I went to eat. So we rented a house. It was awesome. It was my first taste of streaming TV. This house had no like direct TV or Dish Network or cable. It was just like and trying to find the U.S. Open in the mornings. Because they had it like staggered. It was like on Peacock and then NBC Sports and then USA. It was kind of funky.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to several of their different like platforms, the streaming platforms, to find it every time. And but it was good, man. It was there's no AC out there, so you sleep with no covers on.
Mm-hmm.
Because they think 71 or 72 is good sleeping weather, and I don't.
Are you mid 60s?
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If it's like a twinge over 70, I start sweating.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Or need a fan.
I cannot fall asleep. I can't do it. No, it's like I said. I just literally just lay there in my boxer briefs and just nothing else. No covers, no sheet, no nothing.
Wow.
Well, how often do you get out to that lake? Is this like your spot? You do this weekly?
Yeah, we love Manhattan Beach. Finishing my career with the Dodgers. I mean, it don't feel like you're in LA. And like I said, I
No.
don't mind LA either.
Yeah.
It's just the traffic's brutal. Just trying to get anywhere.
Yeah, just getting to your house is a chore. That's a whole day
Yep.
in itself.
Yep, that's exactly right. But we love Manhattan Beach. The restaurants are awesome. Yeah, it's just we live in a pretty small town in Bernie. Or in San Antonio, outside of San Antonio, Bernie, Texas, and it's growing like crazy. But like that's the one thing we just still don't have is restaurants. It's just like either you drive 40 minutes to San Antonio, and then I mean, how do you get home if you have 4 bottles of wine? I don't know. I haven't figured that one out yet. Unless most Ubers won't go to my house.
Yeah, set up a little DUI rail line.
How's
people?
So since you're around San Antonio, that's got the largest Air Force base in the country. So you probably see a lot of flights in and out there, hey?
Oh yeah. Well, our airport's finally getting good, but we see those. My wife would know what they are. Those big those big planes. I think they're called like C-84s or something, C-54, whatever they are. But they fly around all the time. But yeah, we're a military city for sure.
Oh yeah. I had a friend to help run that base. I think he was second in command there. So, and
that's pretty big stuff.
Oh yeah. He worked his way up through the Air Force and ran that. That was like his last position before he retired.
Right.
So he had been down in like Panama.
Did he stay in San Antonio?
Yeah. He still lives there.
I figure I feel like that's what a lot of them do when they retire there in San Antonio. They all just stay.
Yeah, he loves it, and I never would have guessed it, but he loves it, man. He loves the culture. He loves the people. He's
San Antonio's different. It's like a little set apart as far as cities in Texas.
I knew something.
Did you play in the minor leagues here?
I saw there I went there one time. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
The thing I picture when I think of San Antonio is all their signage and everything has that little. They like loop all their letters there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That's what I noticed about San Antonio. I don't know.
I love how you notice those little things like that, Scott. That's hilarious.
Like their barber have the little loop in.
I fucking live here and I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, when you start reading all the signs and advertisements.
I'm definitely gonna look now.
Yeah. You'll start noticing like they like loop their P's and their S's and cool. A lot of like the rope. You see ropes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
that's the rodeo stuff's a big deal here in this part of Texas. I mean, San Antonio kind of represents not just San Antonio. It's like there's a big all of South Texas. I mean, if you live down close to Laredo, you use San Antonio Airport, and everybody's just kind of from San Antonio, even though you don't live in San Antonio.
Yeah, there you go. Can you? Hey, do you have move that phone around? Let me see that lake. That was a cool view. Jeez, that's awesome.
Very nice. Wow. Nice boat too. I like your boat.
Josh, you gotta get a little blanket, make a little picnic.
Picnic?
Yeah, that little island right there. Bring a little music.
There's huge alligators in this.
Oh, okay.
In this lake. Yeah, this is not a recreational lake. This is a fishing lake.
I can see
the state record was out of here for a long time. Like I want to say 20 years.
Just bring 223s. Bring a rifle.
But crazy thing is, you would never think that because East Texas is covered with alligators.
I did not know that. I didn't think that.
Yeah, for some reason the Choke Canyon had the state record for a while.
It's got to have something to do with Louisiana being so close.
No, that's the thing. We're not close to Louisiana here.
Well, you're closer than I am. We don't have alligators.
I don't know. Am I? I bet it's closer than you think.
I bet we're about 10 hours from Louisiana.
I think it's Gators. 14 hours to get to Louisiana for me.
All right. Well, I stand corrected. To
get to Louisiana.
I just can't picture.
Be there in 8.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, Josh. Don't listen to me.
Never do.
Yeah. Well, man, hey, this is awesome. If you don't mind doing this whenever, Do you?
Let me know.
All right. We
I
obviously
usually stop for lunch in the middle of the day anyway.
okay. Like right now.
I want to hear some more from him. I
All right.
actually have a question.
All right.
for
He's
him, and I
got
had
questions.
I
I'm
wanted
trying.
to-
I'm trying to kick you off. Sorry.
No, but I
That's
did.
fine.
I did have.
Sure.
I had a question for you. Sorry, I just wanted to check. I saw something pop up, and I didn't want. I was trying to see if there was a way to not have notifications pop up since we're learning about this. But quick question for you. Here's the quick question: Are you watching baseball at all?
Very little.
Very little. Okay. I was curious if you're paying attention and who you might like or not like right now, because it's been an interesting year. Obviously, a lot of new rules, but there's been a lot of players that people thought were going to come out and perform, and they have not done it this year, especially on pitching. When you look like a Verlander or Scherzer's been.
I haven't heard his name one time this year, except for that little like pine tar incident.
Yeah, and then you've had pitchers that a lot of young pitchers that are coming up and starting to make some noise. So Dodgers, Miller.
Age and innings are undefeated.
What is?
Age and innings are undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just everybody's only got so many throws, you got so many years. You know what I mean? It's just so many ups and downs.
Absolutely.
I mean, the ones that reinvent themselves, man. That's pretty cool. I did it but I did it for like 4 months and then I blew my hip out. So, and I give all the credit to AJ Ellis. I would have never done that because I was so hard headed and stubborn. But those are the guys that like almost like start a different deal. You start throwing a lot of change ups or split fingers. Dan Herron comes to mind. He kind of a flamethrower and then ends up being a 60% split finger guy. Those guys are the guys that keep it going. But I mean, age and innings are undefeated. I mean, I had a talk with Kershaw a couple years ago, man. It's just the ball stops coming out of your hand the way it used to.
That little
It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nolan Ryan might have been the only exception to the rule.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at pitching. I mean, when you say that, I think of Adam Wainwright, who obviously was another guy who
reinvented himself.
Yep, reinvented himself and prolonged his career. So,
but not everybody's lucky enough to have a good enough secondary pitch like him and Kershaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's that's what's difficult, man. It's like if you're a guy that throws 100 miles an hour and you don't need your breaking ball that much, so maybe it's not a refined pitch for you. So it's difficult. Like Dan Herron with his split finger, man. I always admired him for that.
Yeah. Well, he was a good pitcher, so came up to the Cardinals.
The thing I'm thinking about is the rule changes, right? I'm thinking about there's a Yankee pitcher. There's a Yankee pitcher that I specifically remember MLB Network doing a thing on his weight. The lefty pitcher, and the lefty pitcher's like, he was only in the league for a year or two, and this rule change, the pace of the game for pitchers is so fast that he's having a terrible year because he cannot catch his breath when he's on the mound. So and I'm thinking about older pitchers, like I'm thinking about like Dan Herron around the mound, like he would take his time, he would think about things, he would execute his pitches. I'm thinking about this rule change this year, like where guys like Dan Herron have lasted, those extra 4 or 5 years, make that workload, that's pace of game.
20 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just maybe something to be said about that with the older guys. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think the owners care. Like I think that eventually we'll get back to where I saw it happen twice during my career, where the relievers were the ones really getting kind of. I'm not going to say screwed. I mean, it was the way the game was. But why would I pay this guy $4 million to be like my 6th or 7th inning guy when I got a guy in AAA that I could pay $300,000 or $400,000? I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I could see where the owners. I mean, they got to figure out a way to save some money somewhere. And I hate to say it, but like, do these guys really need to pitch till they're 45, 50 years old? It seems crazy. Like I'm enjoying retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, I mean, we used to have a joke, like people that just kept coming to spring training every year. Like, that guy hates his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have you seen anything about Otani? Because he's another one that's really interesting this season. Because I thought maybe with the change it might affect him a little bit. He comes from Japan, which is a faster pace, anyways. But I didn't expect him to. I read the other day he led in every offensive and pitching stats for his team. Led in strikeouts. He led in ERA.
Yeah, but even his pitching this year, I think, is affected by the pace.
The pace.
I just think there's
Are his numbers ballooning at all?
I think he's like a high 4.
No, his ERA is below 4, but
Is
it's not. Yeah, but it's not in the low 2s or whatever he had last year. It is up, and there's no doubt about that.
He must have had a few good starts.
He's had because I was looking. He led in ERA for the team, and it was in the 3s. I don't remember what it was, but it was in the 3s.
I trust you.
No, and I got the picture. I'll try to find it and show you afterwards. But I thought it was really interesting. So I wound up clipping it. I was like, it was like the first, whatever it was, amount of games. We're almost halfway through, and it was like, look at, and he led, strikeouts, ERA, innings pitched, and then it was like, average, OPS, home runs. He was leading the league in home runs all of a sudden. I think that's when it popped in as he led the league in home runs, and so all of a sudden he had that, I think, 22.
Pretty unbelievable what he's doing. I don't care if he's got a high 4 or not. I mean, he's, just to be that talented is just unbelievable.
Yeah. Unreal.
We may never see it again, but then again, maybe he opens the door for somebody. Maybe we've been missing out on some of this. I was a damn good hitter in high school. I mean, the center of my team could have done it. He told me every time I did the
Well, we're not going to be able to use that anyway because you cut out. So whatever you said doesn't matter.
You got to repeat it.
Yeah.
Josh. Repeat it. What'd you say?
Yeah, so what he's doing is unbelievable, man. And we'll probably never see it again. But then again, maybe he's opening doors for people coming up later on. I mean, there's that kid at Florida. I've been watching the College World Series, and I watched a bunch of the super regionals and the regional stuff. That kid for Florida, Caglione, I think is his name.
Oh yeah,
Jace Caglione. I mean, he's. I think he led the Florida Gators in hitting and home runs, and I mean, I think he's their ace. 96 from the left side. If he's not their ace, he's pretty good still.
Yeah, no, more kids are definitely going to try to be like him, which is going to.
They would have never let the guy from the United States do that.
Right.
And it's even getting worse. Like, it's not even just the same sport, 2 positions. They don't even let them play like 2 sports anymore.
Right.
Like, we played like basketball, football, baseball. We played everything every year. And now it's like, it's so like, these kids are just dialed in when they're like 11 years old. Like, this is what you're going to do. And who knows? Maybe the kid hits a growth spurt and he's great at basketball and, could have went to college or maybe even played in the NBA, whatever. I know that's a small percentage of people, but, I feel like we've always been like, oh, no, you're a pitcher. Or, oh, no, Scott, you're an outfielder. In case you're probably a first baseman at best. I just don't think it would have ever happened. But now that Shohei is doing it, maybe that does open the door for some of these guys. At least let them do it in the minor leagues and see how it works. And if it, maybe we get another 1 or 2 of these guys. And have them all to compare to.
Have another Babe Ruth, another, Otani. Yeah, I just looked it up. He had a 3.13 ERA. So
that's very good.
Yeah.
That's very respectable.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, he's a stud. That you were talking about multiple sports. It made me think. I just read an article about George Lombard, our old outfield coach with the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
His son, I think, is going to be like top 3 or 4 picks in the draft. And he said the one thing that he can attribute his son's athleticism is he made his son play multiple sports. And he didn't hype and focus on baseball.
Like football, you get toughness. Basketball, you get agility.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never played soccer. I mean, I still to this day hate it. But
that's just
but we played baseball. I don't know. Like I feel like you get a little bit of something from each one of them.
Absolutely.
And I feel like probably some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL probably baseball at some time.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, guaranteed, how he throws from different angles and stuff like that. And, there's not a lot of those guys that do that, but, he's always been an athletic quarterback. But I mean, I don't think he got that for just standing in the pocket and, having a great offensive line. I think he probably played other sports and was a great athlete, and then they just made him into a quarterback.
I think it's very similar to like a chef. I mean, you can be classically trained in one thing, but I would imagine it's going to help you cook in another specialty.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the best chefs in the world have a vast knowledge of different cooking methods.
Absolutely.
Much to an athlete would have different methods and mentalities of different sports.
Well, and you also kind of see that with like when he's saying that, I was thinking about Ryan, who for the center for the St. Louis Blues that we traded this last season, O'Reilly, and he would do he would get on a balance beam and do like yoga on a balance beam, and I think he said his mom or somebody taught him, and it helped him learn to stretch and work all his little muscles so that he stayed healthy during the season.
Sure.
So before every game he had like an hour thing where he stretched out all of his muscles doing like this yoga on this mini balance beam. It was pretty impressive.
You got your pole handy?
For NHL. What's that?
You got your pole handy? You should do some fishing in case you catch something while you're talking.
Oh fuck! I got to move spots. This
All
spot burned.
All right.
Being healthy in the NHL is relative. I don't think many baseball players could play one game in that deal. I heard about all those guys that, like, one guy played with a freaking sprained ankle the whole playoffs. Another guy had I think his sternum was dislocated or something. He played like 4 games with it. I mean,
yeah,
I would miss like 2 years with both of those injuries.
Well, NHL, you see every year a slap shot guy get hit in the face, goes down, bleeding uncontrollably, and back out on the ice.
Yeah,
baseball.
They cauterize it with a cattle prod.
Yeah, they're like, are you all right? Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Those guys are tough, man.
They really are, and you can tell when they would come to the stadium and would hit BP. They're you could see their elbows are a little bit bulgier, They look like wrestlers almost.
Oh, yeah. I believe that. They have to get bulky. They usually have big old legs, too, right? Stocky legs to be on the skates. And so.
Yeah, athletes.
Yeah, I played golf out in California with a guy named Dion Panouf, who, I don't know that much about hockey, but he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's in yet, but he will be. But, he's like half man. He's like a centaur. He's literally his legs and his ass are so big. He doesn't hit the ball a long ways. You'd think that he would just murder the ball, but he's a good golfer.
Wow. Well, that again, another thing you see a lot of athletes who can transfer over to a golf, or a different sport.
Yeah. Well, that's similar. Hockey, swinging, and.
Well, I think of Betts doing. Mookie Betts is doing the bowling. He's really, really good bowling. He can possibly go pro bowling after he's done with baseball. And then you look at some of these. Football players and baseball players going to do golf.
Aaron Hicks, I think, did a round. I did a tournament somewhere when he got DFA'd, and he went and played in a golf tournament.
Yeah. Well, who was the pitcher that the Cardinals traded for Danny Herring? Because he's a good golfer. He's almost made the tour a couple times. He's done a lot of the pro stuff, but he's.
I remember that.
He was
You remember who got traded for Dan Herring?
He was with the Cardinals a couple of years. He was with the A's prior to that. He was a lefty.
Mark Mulder.
Mark Mulder. Yep, Mark Mulder. That's who it was.
Yeah,
yep.
He's great. He's a great golfer and a better human being.
Yeah, I like Mark.
You know what I remember about Mark is one of the last things they did before they tore down the old Busch Stadium is he took in, I think he had a Trans Am or something like that, and he pulled it in there and did donuts in the back of the field. Oh, yeah. And it was, and then left. It was the day before they were going to start deconstructing the whole old Busch Stadium, and they'd already built part of the new one was already half built.
He just trashed the outfield.
Oh yeah, he did donuts out there, and some people took it as being a sign of disrespect, but I thought it was hilarious. So
whatever.
Yeah. I think it was turf. No, I guess it was. No, I think it was turf, wasn't it?
No, the latest was grass.
Yeah,
the one in the 80s, 90s, the Busch Stadium with the ringlet.
Just remember how freaking hot it was there. Maybe that's why I thought it was turf. Golly, I played in that old stadium, I think 1 or 2 years, and it was just brutal.
Mm-hmm. My dad said he would play games during the day sometimes, and when he was with the Cardinals, and he would start to run off the field after a long inning. If his feet were planted too long in the turf, he would start to run, and his soles would come off the bottom of they would melt to the turf. Like those like strings that come off with melted plastic.
Yeah.
When he would leave his position, sometimes he would have melted plastic strings coming off his shoes.
That's crazy.
I think I heard that about there, and I feel like maybe Kansas City had turf at one time too. I feel like that was another place that happened.
We know Kansas City had turf. There's a famous incident about that in '87.
Coleman.
Yeah.
Vince Coleman got ran over by the tarp.
Yeah.
In the playoff game and tore his ACL and was out the playoffs that year.
Yep. A lot of people blame that and why we lost.
They should have. He was a very integral part of that team.
Yep. He was.
So are they saying that there's no reason for them to pull the tarp out because they had turf?
Just the dirt. Like, what is he doing anyways? Helping pulling that tarp. I guess that different time.
I don't have the answer to that. I just remember that was an interesting ordeal. It was all over the news in '85 about how he would be out of the playoffs against the
Tarpgate.
Yep, Tarpgate. Yep. That was also the year that
Scott, you remember? I bet Scott really remembers that newspaper clipping from 1985.
Well, the other thing that was funny that series, there's a famous play that Todd Burrell.
That's the pic. Yeah, when he's reaching back and his foot's on the base, and there's a still photo of the guy's foot not yet on the base, and they call him safe.
Yep.
That was the third out. That would have ended the game.
Yep. That's like, I think one of the most, I think I heard somewhere like that picture has been the most signed thing that Todd Burrell's had to do over his career because that is such an infamous thing.
That's an expensive picture.
So, yeah.
You got anything else? We want you to be able to enjoy the rest of your fishing day.
Yeah. I love you guys.
I love you too, man.
We can do this again, but I think this one's over.
Yeah.
Hey, I think so too. You enjoy your fishing. Have a good time, buddy.
Josh, we'll be in touch, buddy.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
All
right. Well, that was Josh Beckett, man. What a great episode that was. What a great time with Josh. We're thankful for any time he's so gracious with his time, even when he's out fishing.
I think we're gonna make this, like, if not like a bi-weekly thing, we're gonna make this. He's gonna be on. We're gonna try to catch him fishing lots.
Oh yeah.
I want him to start fishing. We got to get him in spots where he's actually fishing while he's talking in case he gets something.
Yeah. Well.
Show us.
Yeah, well, and he has so many fun stories too. I mean, this is a guy who just 2 days ago is playing, at one of the greatest golf tournaments of the year, and then now he's fishing.
Yeah, and it happened to me at a historic LA country club that I don't think it had been there before.
I don't know.
The U.S. Open, I don't think it'd been there, so it was the first year there, and
there you
very interesting.
Well, with that said, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Share. Yeah. What you mentioned earlier in the show, we can get subscriptions.
Yep, yeah. You can do subscriptions. So most of the platforms, whether it be Apple or the YouTube, or most of them now, if you go out there, there's a place where you can either support us directly or through a membership. We've created levels. Everybody has a little different platform, so we've tried to work with all those. But the gist of it is we have most of the time 3 levels that you can help support us from $1.99 all the way up to $20.
And we're gonna do stuff. It's not like
we're
gonna subscribe and then that's it. Like, we're gonna have shows where we're gonna have people on, ask questions, get them involved.
Absolutely.
And this is just an easier way to keep in touch with you guys when we see that tab pushed.
Well, and they'll get priority if they have a question that they want to have asked. We'll start announcing some of the future guests we got coming. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I am. We got a presidential candidate that we're doing next week. So we got a guy who has won multiple bodybuilding competitions, runs a very, very successful gym here, and has helped manage many successful soccer careers over in Europe. So, and we're going to have him in here. So we've got guests coming. We've got from athletes to political to biblical. We got some pretty big faith guests that I'm working on bringing onto the show here later on. And if all goes well, we're going to have some more NWA wrestlers towards August on here as they do their thing at the Chase. So we're working on trying to bring in a multiple people of different backgrounds and get to hear different things and learn their story. So hopefully you're going through this journey with us and find value in those stories as well.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean those higher tier interviews, those people typically don't do those things for free.
No.
So eventually that's going to cost money towards us. So any way you guys can support us is awesome. And especially if you like what you're hearing and where this thing is going, it's going to help out. So.
And if you happen to be a business owner and you're wondering, do they do sponsorships like you hear us talk about Resource One and CS Design? Guess what? Not only can we do that, but if you have a commercial, we could even plug that into our episodes as well. So be sure, if that's something that you're interested in, reach out to us. And we would love to have the discussion of, getting you on and making you part of what we're doing.
And it's going to get out to people. I mean, we have
20,000 subscribers over 20 on YouTube alone, and that doesn't include Spotify, which, by the way, we're about 50-ish away from monetizing Spotify. So if you're a follower and maybe you don't use Spotify for this, but you just want to help us, go out there and subscribe on Spotify. That does help us. We need about 50 more, and then I can get that monetized. So again, those are little things that help, help us as we grow and continue to put out content for you. And again, we hope that you're enjoying and liking it. That said, we'll catch you later.
Adios, amigos.
You're safe.